Good morning. Keith Hayes with Rouser Radio, broadcasting from Lewes in East Sussex in the UK. And this is Rouser Radio, part of the Mirador Television group, and I hope that you'll enjoy being with us. Well, we actually made it in 4 minutes this morning. Well, actually, we made it in 2 minutes, but we were late coming off television, so I do apologise for that. And why not? It's a way to get started, isn't it? To start with the day feeling good is apologising, whether you've got anything to apologise about or not. And perhaps there's a lot to apologise about in our lives that we don't. Anyway, I'm not here to philosophise. I'm here to partly inform, partly entertain, and hopefully get up your left nostril with some of the things that I say, so that at least we get good public debate going. And just as a matter of interest, we took a survey on the new planned superhighway between Lewes and Eastbourne. Most of the initial thinking was, oh my God, here the district council go again. They've been at it secretly because they're afraid that the public wouldn't want it. Well, our survey was quite surprising. Most people in Lewes don't want it. Most people in Eastbourne do, and they're split in the towns around, like Newhaven and Seaford, who would be directly affected by this superhighway. So there you are, is where we thought, or at least most people would have bet, that the environmentalists and destroying the environment would hold sway. Not a bit of it. A good many people were much more concerned about being able to get from Lewes to Eastbourne via Polegate, and this new road would actually speed everything up. And they pointed out about accidents on the present A27 and so on. So there you are. It was a bit of a surprise, I think, and perhaps a bit of a setback for those people who will oppose it, because I'm quite sure that there will be quite aggressive opposition to this, not least of which is, and this is the bit that I don't like, is it started its life, as indeed a lot of things do with this council, in secrecy. And that's the bit that's unacceptable. If you just put your faith in us, chaps, you know, sometimes we can surprise you. We actually might go along with some of your policies. Anyway, there we go. I have been talking on television this morning about Parkinson's. I got Parkinson's, and it's an uncomfortable thing. Sometimes it can be a debilitating thing. Sometimes it can be a fatal thing. One never knows. I'm lucky so far that while I occasionally get the shakes, and occasionally not occasionally, but I get some of the symptoms such as the dry mouth and heavy legs and that sort of thing, is I have managed to come through. But one of the things that the researchers, and there is far more research into Parkinson's nowadays than there was. I mean, just in the last 5 years since I knew that I got it, there's been far more research that's come to light. One of the things that has come up. Oh, let me tell you. First of all, if only I could persuade them to it, but a very good champagne works wonders for Parkinson's, and we've got experimental proof of that. I drink it from time to time, and sure enough, my Parkinson's goes away. But a friend of a friend who's got a very, very bad case of Parkinson's can get relief if he has a couple of glasses of champagne at lunchtime, and it helps him overcome the symptoms for at least two hours or so. Now, what I want to happen is, and perhaps you'd put pressure on your local councillor or your MP or whatever, is that Parkinson's sufferers benefit from champagne. Therefore, the champagne should be on the national health. Now, that is my crusade. Champagne on the national health for those who have Parkinson's. The trouble is, of course, is they'd be stocked in the chemists, and the chemists, every time they had a party, or something to celebrate would nick the champagne, and suddenly we'd go in and ask for our medicine, and it wouldn't be there. I know. I've checked all the weaknesses. Anyway, the other thing that researchers have now discovered is that if you do an Irish jig, that there is something about the movement that actually helps Parkinson's sufferers. And this is quite serious. I'm not pulling anybody's leg on this, any Parkinson's leg or non-Parkinson's leg. And of course, I'm always very interested in the sort of things that will help Parkinson's. So there you are. It is an Irish jig, and we'll. I haven't got an Irish jig, but what we might do is just take a little listen to a bit of music, I think, and then I'll come back and we'll have a little chat about to jig or not to jig. Let's kiss the sky. Well, a pretty little thing, and kissing the sky. Oh, if only I could reach that high. Neighbourhood plan. I know that we broadcast around the world. We're on world www dot all over the place. And we get some very, very nice responses to people from outside the UK. And sometimes I have to explain just a little bit who we are and where we are. Mirador Radio is based in the town of Lewes. The town of Lewes is the county town of East Sussex. When we say the county town in the UK, what we mean is it's the administrative headquarters. In other words, it's the senior community in the county. And so we, as a town, have always been important since Saxon times, but tiny though we are, we punch over our weight, as they say nowadays. And it is an interesting town. It's an ancient town. But we broadcast from here primarily for towns from Battle to Brighton. Battle? You say, what an odd name. Yeah, well, the Battle of Hastings wasn't fought at Hastings. I mean, in that peculiar way that the British have of saying one thing and meaning another, is the Battle of Hastings was fought on ground where a community grew up called Battle. And Battle, a lovely, once again, ancient town. There's a ruined abbey there, which the William the Conqueror set up after he'd defeated the Anglo-Saxons and had taken control of what I suppose we could call either GB or the UK. But the abbey was pulled down by Henry VIII in the dissolution of the monasteries, and although there is a substantial amount left, its grandeur and its beauty, much like the one in Lewes, is not here to be enjoyed today. But a battle right through the tiny towns to the border of Lewes with Brighton, and then going up towards Gatwick, where the airport is, and Tunbridge Wells, the famous Tunbridge Wells of colonel fame. It was always said that if you were a colonel, you retired to Tunbridge Wells to take the waters. It's got a healing spring there, pretty turgid stuff. not sure that I really fancy taking a whole bath in it, but perhaps dipping a little bit of you into it and being cured might be the answer for something. Anyway, that's who we are, and Mirador Television and Rouser Radio are only garnering small audiences at the moment, but they're growing. Bit by bit they're growing, which means that we're getting a good solid base. We are not here and gone tomorrow. And we will continue to broadcast, even albeit to small groups. We would ask you, if you listen in, if you hear this, to share it. It will build the base that we've got until eventually we become an important part of the media scene in the southern part of the United Kingdom. And it's needed at the moment because our county councils and district councils are just out of control. There's nobody keeping an eye on them. And they've got this wretched system called the cabinet system, where decisions are made by just a few people. And that's unacceptable. Why do we bother with an election to elect councillors if they're not having much of an involvement in what's going on? And they don't have much involvement in what's going on. I went to the council meeting a week ago yesterday, and if it wasn't so tragic, it would be absolutely hilarious. You could make a movie about it, a comedy. But the fact is, these are the people that in many ways have our future in their hands. And we like to think that everybody is involved in the debate and the discussion. If there's no more than that, we would all be very happy. But debate and discussion, because it's the neighbourhood plan, the Lewes neighbourhood plan, we vote on it on, when is it, Thursday, and do get out and vote. I know it's 400 pages of gobbledygook, and nobody thought to actually just give a resume of it so that we knew what was being talked about. But I'm always having a slam go at councillors, and I have to say that the one or two councillors have really decided to get with it, and they are they're busy explaining on the streets. They're called street meetings to try and explain the salient points of the neighbourhood plan, so we all know what either we're voting for or not voting for, or whatever. So we're 14 minutes in. I think it'd be nice if we played another little record, wouldn't it? Probably the sound of my voice this morning isn't something that everybody wants to hear. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go for the 8-year anniversary, shall we? Yeah, that's what we'll do.